Welcome to Bravo, Barazzaru. Come in, come in.
This is the mansion?
The mansion is coming, cousin.
In the great year 2008, in the month of April, the team of Rockstar North released on the market the monster that was to become known as GTA 4. A game full of controversy based on a novel story, the main character of which was a kind of Croatian. Could this game have been produced during the Cold War? I think that Rockstar had more problems than income at that point. But times have changed. The run-of-the-mill American is more compassionate and understanding, and recently avid for as realistic experiences as possible. The time passed and people started to get bored of GTA 4. Interest in the game dropped visibly. So Rockstar started distributing the first DLC, Lost and Damned, shortly followed by another DLC called The Ballad of Gay Tony. These two DLCs make the object of today's review. Are they everything the producers promised? Do they bring something new to GTA 4? These are questions we'll try to have answered with this current presentation. The story of the two DLCs is following at the same time as that of the original. As such, many of the questions raised by the adventures of Nico find their answers in these add-ons. The first DLC is probably the most full of controversy. It's not only bringing up the problem of drugs, but also a quite delicate subject in today's America, biker gangs.
I've changed. And you know what, Chad? You changed me. Gentlemen, shall we get the fuck out of here?
Lost and Damned presents the story of Johnny Klebitz, a true biker and second string in the command structure of the Lost Brotherhood gang. The guy is a sort of contrarian, almost always going against the decisions of the gang boss, Billy Gray. Now seriously, it's about a game in which you can do almost anything you put your mind to. Why fight it when you can take part? The storyline is pretty straightforward. Billy gets out of prison, takes command of the gang and starts a gang war. Everything coming down to the famous phrase, sex, drugs and rock and roll. Phrase which best represents this DLC.
Johnny, what's going on?
Not much, Bill. Usual stuff.
We missed you, Bill.
It's worth reminding that the storyline of Lost and Damned takes up to around 10 hours, and honestly I found myself many times more involved in the story of Johnny Klebitz than in that of Nico. The action of the game reminds me of Easy Rider and the beginnings of Fringe cinema back in the 1960s. Visual updates are visible from the first moments of the game, facial animations are much more detailed compared to GTA 4, and the soundtrack adds depth. It's also worth mentioning that the new radio stations have been introduced and the famous TV commercials are also present. The fun factor that Rockstar got us used to is also ready to be called on. Little puns here and there, some of them referencing even the first GTA, something that in a way really adds to the charm of the game.
More money from the economic stimulus package. What is known is that all of these drug-fueled motorcycle gangs are a serious threat to all of us.
We move on to the gameplay of Lost and Damned. In essence, the game mechanics have stayed the same. Drive your crowbar into expensive cars, ride a motorcycle, front-end the cop that tries to arrest you. Only in Lost and Damned, things are a little more polished when it comes to driving vehicles. Being a biker game, Rockstar improved the controls for the in-game bikes, making them my favorite transport mode in this DLC. In GTA 4, some vehicles, to be honest, drove like logs on wheels, which was something annoying. Well, it's not the case anymore, and the checkpoint system helps the player even more. If you remember in GTA 4, if you didn't get a mission right, probably from lead poisoning, you had to start it all the way over from the beginning. However, the checkpoint system now removes this inconvenient factor from these DLCs. And the guns, oh the guns. How delicious it is to ride through the town with a grenade launcher or a double-barreled shotgun, and there are only 2 of the weapons present in the game, plus some homemade bombs. Gangster life, brother.
Good to see you again. Let's hope this goes a little better than before, yeah?
And I'll move on to the crown jewels. If Lost and Damned improved the GTA series, then Ballad of Gay Tony has refined the series to the highest level. This last DLC in the series not only solves mostly all problems, but also answers to a question I've always asked myself during GTA 4. What happened to those damned diamonds? Those who played the original GTA know what it's about. Sure, the gameplay is extremely well refined, and the game mechanics get no complaint from me, but I must admit some of the missions are a little dumb. Anyway, let's dissect the Ballad of Gay Tony. If in Lost and Damned the gameplay is mostly ground-based, in Ballad of Gay Tony the accent is put on aerial stunts. The main character, Luis Lopez, is a young man who, unlike the other protagonists so far, is not really busting his head making a name for himself in the underground world. He's the right-hand, bodyguard and eventually shoulder to cry on of Tony Prince, friendly called Gay Tony. Why? I don't know, the guy seems totally straight. Anyway, Luis is a boy who wants everything nice and peaceful, but gets into trouble due to his entourage. I'm seeing a trend here, Johnny Klebitz, Nico Bellic, now Luis. Rockstar, you're trying to make funny characters dressed up as the anti-hero? You get all sorts of mini-games like managing a club or my personal favorite, something that resembles Hannah Montana Dance Dance Revolution. And yes, I was being ironic. Mini-games are pretty boring in this game. If you really want to squeeze that authentic GTA brand gameplay, I recommend you to stick to the missions, which sometimes can be extremely retarded. For example, there's a mission in which you have to jump from a helicopter through a series of imaginary circles and land on a fixed point, something that reminds me of Superman 64, not to mention the aerial battles that require an extra of around 4 or 5 fingers. Rockstar may have refined controls in Lost and Damned, however in Ballad of Gay Tony the controls of aerial vehicles leaves something to be desired, at least on the consoles. On the PC things change radically. In general, the best strategy you can settle on in this game is to go into a mission with the most powerful weapons, full life and full armor, and a tank too, if you got one. A little warning, this DLC is the more explicit of the two, many vulgarities and sexual references. My advice for parents is to use parental controls if your child truly desires this game. Overall, these two DLCs add plenty of depth and variety to the GTA story. They're worth every penny. We award the DLC pack Stories of Liberty City a well-deserved 9.
Let the good times roll! All right, who's the girl? There wasn't a girl, man.
There's always a girl.